Hi everybody, this is Darlene from darlenestamps.stampinup.net. I'm so glad you found me today. Today I wanted to tell you that the new mini and Sale-a-bration catalogs from Stampin' Up! Are live. We can actually open them up and show you pictures, so it's an exciting day. Let me tell you a little bit about the minis. Stampin' Up! Puts out 2 mini catalogs each year. The first one is this one, January through April. It usually deals with Valentine's, spring kinds of things, Easter, things like that. And also in January and February, they offer the Sale-a-bration promotion, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Today I wanted to show you a bundle from the new mini and how they did a coordinating product from the Sale-a-bration promotion to go with it. So let's get started looking at the catalog. Here is the stamp set that I'm looking at today. It's called Dainty Delight. It is a floral set, and you can see here that it has 4 main floral pieces and then some greetings, which is always nice to add to your greeting stash, right? As always, this set comes in a bundle. It comes with matching coordinating dies. And when you purchase dies and a stamp set together as a bundle, you always save 10%. However, you can purchase the stamp set separately and the dies separately. I'm going to show you how they coordinate in a second. Here is the stamp set in real life, and the dies. I keep my dies on this magnetic storage card. It's from Stampin' Storage. That is not a Stampin' Up! Product. You can find Stampin' Storage online. They have a lot of products that really fit in with Stampin' Up! Products. I want to show you how the dies cut out things. So I've done a little sheet for you here. You can see that there are 4 dies that cut out the main floral pieces, and I just did some quick coloring to show you that. But then there are additional dies that don't cut out anything specific from the stamp set, but they go along with the floral theme of this bundle. And you can see here you have a really pretty vine kind of a die. You have some florals, Queen Anne's lace. I think this is a lilac. Some daisy types of things. This die cuts out 4 flowers at one time, different sizes. Here you have some little centers for flowers, and here you have some small leaves. So we'll be referring to the die cuts as we go through this product. Now what they've done this time with Sale-a-bration, I can find my little Sale-a-bration catalog. Here we go. They have offered a Sale-a-bration choice that coordinates with the Dainty Delight bundle. Now, what is Sale-a-bration? Sale-a-bration has its own catalog. It goes from January through February. And what Sale-a-bration offers you is for every $50 of product that you order, and that order can be from the new mini, it can be from the annual, it can be from a combination, it can include things from the clearance list. Any of those things that add up to $50 before tax and shipping qualify you for a free item from the Sale-a-bration catalog. The Sale-a-bration catalog offers stamp sets. Here are a couple of the cute stamp sets, little owls and Thanks a Bunch, which is the carrot theme. And it also offers paper products as a choice. And that's what I chose because I loved that bundle. I had ordered that bundle. And so this 12 by 12 paper goes along with the stamp set. It's only available as a free choice in the Sale-a-bration catalog. So let's see how these products work together. First thing I want to show you is the paper. I'm going to pull out my Designer Series paper, get it on the screen for you. Now, one thing that you will notice when you order paper from Stampin' Up! Is that it comes packaged with the names of all the coordinating inks that go with it. And that's really nice because it takes away the guesswork, like what is this Daffodil Delight or is this So Saffron? It's all printed right on the packaging. And so this particular paper has some really beautiful spring colors. This is all in the palette of the paper. We have Daffodil Delight, Crushed Curry, Rich Razzleberry, Old Olive, Mossy Meadow, Blushing Bride, Fresh Freesia, and Starry Sky. So those colors are found in the paper. Now, it doesn't mean that every color is in every pattern, but this is the palette that runs through this paper selection. What I would suggest to you to do is to pull out the inks. When you get your paper, pull out all the inks and line them up on your workspace so that you can see in front of you the colors that all go together in this paper. It doesn't mean that you're going to use every color. It just means that you can look at it and say, you know, I think I'm going to work with a Mossy Meadow base and maybe concentrate on the purples as my accent colors. So keep them lined up and it will help you with your design and sometimes even with your creativity. Sometimes you hit a block and you're like, what? I don't know what to do. Start with your colors. Okay, now for space concerns here, I'm going to move my inks off the paper, but I would have let them be spread out on my workspace. You get 12 sheets of paper. There are 6 designs, so you get 2 of each one, and they are double-sided. So I'm just going to quickly go through. First thing you see here is my boo-boo. I spilled some of my tea on my paper, but I'm not going to get rid of that piece. We could cut around the flowers here and kind of eliminate that part of the paper, so no problem at all. We have had this kind of design before where they've taken a pattern and they've laid it across 2 opposite ends of the paper. And what this allows you to do very, very easily, again, this is 12 by 12, is to cut at 4 and to cut at 8. And then to cut in half at 6. And what you get from there are 6 panels. You would have to trim them down a little bit to fit the front of a standard card. But right there you have a card. All you need to do is put a little greeting on and you're good to go. So this paper is just so easy to design from, especially if you're a beginner stamper and you have a little bit of hesitancy about composition of a card. This does it for you. It really is a workhorse. Now again, I mentioned that our papers are double-sided, so here we have the other side. It's tones of green with a floral print in it. Okay, the next pattern is greens in a kind of a leaf kind of a motif. And on the back is the Fresh Freesia with a dotted, makes a good background. Here we have a leaning toward the Rich Razzleberry part of the palette. Small, it is called Dainty Delights. And the back of that is a Starry Sky, a graphic background. Really nice for mounting things on top of. Not too busy. Here we have a floral, and actually I think every color ink that I showed you is in this design. These are a little bit larger designs. Would be great in a scrapbook layout as well because it's a good scale. And the back of this is a watercolor. I love this kind of paper. It's a watercolor, kind of a splattered look. You have these little blotches as well. And again, this can be cut into panels at 4 and 8, and then in 6 you have 4 very easy panels. We're going to make a card with this, or I'll show you a card in a minute. Here we have the same kind of pattern but smaller scale. So this works well for card fronts. And on the back, the Blushing Bride. And then this one is taking the flowers and making them into an oval wreath kind of a thing. Once again, if you look at the layout of this paper, you can see easily how this can be cut, and then 2 cuts here, and you have 3 panels here. And then you have 2 longer panels, and I've seen those made into bookmarks, or it could just be the front of a card as well. And then the back, another kind of a watercolor look with some splatters. So those are the designs in the color palette. Now I want to show you some very simple designs that I made, simple cards that I made using the paper. And really, you don't even have to use much else. So let's take a look here. Here is the paper that I talked about where the design was on each opposite side. So I already cut one of this off at 4. I would cut this again in half and then in half again. So I have my card fronts. Now literally, you can just take one of those fronts and put it on a piece of cardstock. This is on Mossy Meadow. All you need to do is have a small, I would do a small greeting at the top. You might want to put a few embellishments on there, but really you don't need to. This is great for beginner stampers because it gives you a really pretty card, not a lot of work, not a lot of thinking, and the color palette is really gorgeous. So that's just simply a panel glued on cardstock. Now I took it a little bit farther in this sample. I did the same thing. Here's my panel that I cut. I did a small greeting. I didn't want to really distract from the flowers, so I just did a small greeting with much love. Here I cut out that vine that I pointed out to you before. Here is that vine, right? So I cut 2 of those in the Mossy Meadow. I cut out the flower, this die I told you about that cuts out 4 flowers at one time. So I cut those out in Starry Sky. I adhered those. And then I just did a small bow with Starry Sky glitter ribbon. And you're done. So this is kind of a stepped up version, but you don't need to do that. You could just use the print of the paper itself. Really good for beginners. Card number 2, I used the watercolor side. Remember I showed you there was a floral on one side and there was the watercolor kind of blotchy stuff on the back, but I just love this look. And again, cut it at 4, cut it at 8, cut it in half, and you have 6 panels. So that's what I used for this card. I did cut it down a little bit so it would fit on a mat. This is the rich raspberry being brought out. Here is one of the stamped images from the set, simply colored with our Stampin' blends. I did not use the die to cut this out. I used our deckled rectangle dies to do the focal point and the mat. And this is on Very Vanilla. Very, very easy. I also, I don't know if you can see, there you can see it. I did use a little bit of Wink of Stella on the flower buds. These cards, maybe 10 minutes, maybe. Super simple. Okay, a third card that I did, I decided to use the oval wreaths. And what I did here was I just cut them in panels, straight cut. And then I put it on, do you remember the flip side of that one piece, that Starry Sky graphic background? It fits on a card perfectly. I did the Starry Sky greeting and a little bit of ribbon to finish it off. The paper does the work literally for you. And then that same paper, the oval, instead of cutting it straight like it is here, what I did was I fussy cut. Now, stamping has a term called fussy cut, and basically what it is basically you're using scissors and you're cutting around the image, okay? Not in a straight line, but cutting the image itself. Some people really shy away from fussy cutting. I enjoy it, I don't mind it, and it really does give a really nice, kind of a little bit of a different edge to things. I just glued it on and I put a little oval part in the middle there for the greeting. So those cards, I mean, really minutes. It only took me minutes to make them, and even if you were a beginner, it's pretty much cut and paste. The paper does the work for you. Another thing that this kind of a project or this kind of a paper allows you to do is it allows you to very easily make a gift set. For example, if you wanted to make somebody a gift set of, let's say, birthday cards, you can use this paper. The colors are going to all be coordinated. You could make, you know, 5 or 6 different designs, literally just using the paper. Put some happy birthdays on the front, different fonts, and you have a really nice gift set. People love getting note cards, birthday cards that they can send to other people. So this kind of a coordination with the stamp set and the paper really allows for you to do that. Now, I had a very quick project that I wanted to do with you today. I decided to use my rich raspberry as a base. I kind of like purples. And then another product that I wanted to use is this new shimmer paper. It is called Fine Shimmer. It is in the mini catalog. If you can see that, it's against the purple. And here's what that paper looks like. You get 2 sheets of each color, soft succulent, fresh freesia, and gold. We have had glimmer and glitter papers for many years in Stampin' Up. Some of them were very coarse. Some of them were a little hard to die cut. Some of them shed a bit. People didn't like that. This is totally smooth. I'm not feeling anything but the surface of the paper here. Nothing's going to shed. It's thin enough that it will die cut super easily. So it's really a nice product. And again, it is in the new mini catalog. It is called Fine Shimmer. Okay, so that I decided to use as my mat. And because I chose the soft succulent, I then based the rest of my card on those 2 colors. Now what I'm going to do while we're talking here is I'm going to glue my mat onto my card base. I really am leaning toward liquid glue nowadays. I like that it's very strong. You don't need a lot of it. And you have a little bit, I'm standing on my tippy toes here so I can see what I'm doing. You have a little bit of wiggle room. If you get that on crooked, you can give it a little zhuzh and it will move to its right place. And then if you've seen my former videos, I really like our F block. We have a collection of blocks, different sizes for our stamps. This is the largest, block F. I use it as a paint palette for watercoloring, but I also use it a lot as a weight. I have several of these, and when I'm doing a lot of projects, I like to stick things underneath them to make sure the liquid glue really bonds well and my project is really nice and flat. Let me show you the front of the card. So again, this is one of the flip sides, one of those watercolor sides that I showed you a few minutes ago. Here is that vine again, okay? Here is this vine. Remember I showed you the die cut. And the way they have curved that vine really makes it quite simple to, if you cut 2 of them, as I did here, you can just put them on top of each other and you have created an oval wreath, a vine-looking oval wreath. And I glued that on. And then I just did a happy birthday in white in the middle. I didn't want to get too fancy with the words. Okay, so now I'm going to glue that as well and put that on my mat. Make sure I have this the right way. Stampin' Up! Has a variety of adhesives. I did do a video on adhesives that you can look up on my YouTube channel. And again, you can see how do you see how I didn't have it straight here and I can zhuzh it up there. I can slide it. I have it, yep, it's not upside down, and back goes my block. Now I want to show you the other parts of my project. Do you remember I showed you this die that cuts out 4 flowers at a time? So I decided I wanted to use some of those flowers on my oval wreath. So I cut from rich raspberry and fresh freesia. I cut this out several times. So I had a little collection of flowers. And here they are. And then I wanted, when I attached them, I wanted them to be raised up on the card. I didn't want them flat. So what I decided to use was our dimensionals. Now, dimensionals are a Stampin' Up! Trademarked adhesive. These are the full-size dimensionals. These are double-sided sticky. And we've had these for years and years. I always have a huge supply of these on hand. What happened in the past is, this is a great size for most things, except if you get into smaller things like our flowers. In the past, we would have to cut these in pieces, and it was a little tedious, and you got a bunch of gooey scissors at the end. And so several years ago, what they did was they brought out the minis. So you can see it's the same exact shape, but now it's in mini, and that is what is on the back of each of my flowers. It is super, super handy. They also make them in black for darker cardstocks. So what we're going to do now, I think this is good. I'm going to take off my block. And here's how I imagined this project to go. I wanted my rich razzleberries to be my anchors, so I'm putting them north, south, east, west on my oval. And then I'm going to fill in with the fresh freesia, a big one, a small one, a big one, and a small one. Here we go. Okay. Now all you have to do to put them on is literally take off the backing and just stick it on. So it'll take me a few seconds to do that. Some people use pokey tools to get the backs off. I do have a little bit of fingernails, so I can get them off. They're not hard. I have one that doesn't want to cooperate. Now, of course, you could add other things to your wreath. I didn't want to get too complicated with this, but you could add other pieces to this. Of course, I'm trying to keep this simple for stampers that are just starting out. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much going on. Okay, so there are my, do you see these little things? I find them everywhere in my house. they just kind of hang on there, you know, they kind of stick to you, and I find them everywhere. So, all right. Now, at this point, when I was designing this card, I thought, well, I like it, but I just want to add something else, something. And so I decided to go to my embellishments. These are our rhinestones. They come in a variety pack, so you get different sizes, and they're clear. And we also have pearls. Same kind of thing, variety of sizes, white pearls. Now, what I wanted to do was customize my embellishments to my color palette. And in a former video, I did show you this, but I will repeat it. We have Stampin' Blends markers, okay? These are alcohol markers. They are not water-based. They are alcohol blend markers. And these will color things like these embellishments. So I suggest when you do this, and this is the dark rich razzleberry, always use the dark shade. Blends come in two tones, light and dark. I always recommend the dark shade. It really will do better on this slick surface. I colored these once. I let it dry for just a little bit, colored it again, and colored it a third time just to get the deepness of the rich razzleberry. And so now each flower is going to get a little glittery center. I'm using my Take a Pick tool to lift those off. Didn't quite get that in the center. There we go. If you have fingernails, you can use your fingernails. The one thing you do have to be aware of is these pearls and the rhinestones are self-adhesive. And so when you pick them off the paper, you have to make sure that you get all the way underneath. Some people actually lift the rhinestone or the pearl off of the sticky part, and then they're wondering, why are my jewels not sticking? You have to go all the way under, and that's why the Take Your Pick tool really helps getting all the way under. And you can see how just a little bit of bling jazzes it up, kind of brightens it a little bit. And the last one. And there you have it. Happy birthday in soft succulent and rich razzleberry with some shiny centers. Let's just review the cards that we had today. Here was the oval wreath with the fussy cut. Here was the oval just cut as a panel. Here was the watercolor side of the paper with just a simple stamped image. And here was the panel of the card, embellished a bit with some die cutting. Again, this bundle, Dainty Delights, is in the mini catalog, which is now live. The paper is a free choice out of the Sale-a-bration catalog with a $50 purchase. If you liked today's video, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. YouTube does pay attention to thumbs up and reviews and all those kinds of things, so it's really helpful when I'm trying to build a channel to have comments and thumbs up. Also, if you have a crafty friend that you think would like this information as well, please hit the share button and send it to them. And I'm always so honored when people subscribe and hit the notification bell so that when I put out my next video, you'll know that it's coming. I always like to leave you with a thought for the day. And today's words come from Frederick Douglass. His words say, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress." Bye until next time.